Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this webinar hosted by Nigeria International, which is about protecting yourself legally as an entertainer, a very interesting topic in this country and worldwide, as relates the rights of entertainers and artists on matters to do with the law and the protection of their interests. Today we have with us two interesting speakers and attendees. Our main speaker today shall be Ms. Rachel Olinga, who's an associate advocate at Nigeria International, who shall take us through the do's and don'ts and the insights and the highlights of what entertainers and artists should do to protect themselves legally and to protect their work as they perform. We also have with us Mrs. Pammy Rams, who is a minister of the gospel, an accomplished gospel musician. Her love and dedication for Christ has been revealed from deep inside her soul through her melodies, as she has been in the music industry since 2010, when she released her first ever album, Niongoze. She's been present in ministry through the gospel music for over a decade, where she's into teaching, writing, and impacting lives with the gospel of Christ through melody. She's a mother of 2 biological children and hundreds of spiritual ones, and she's a thought of God for humanity. Mrs. Pammy Rams, we are pleased to have you with us. We look forward to an insightful presentation from you and also your insights on the music industry and what entertainers and artists can do and issues that they face and how we as lawyers can help them protect their rights. So without further ado, we shall go into the presentation. So in brief, we shall be looking at various highlights. Which include introduction to who the main parties in the entertainment industry are, and the various questions which we shall raise about the legal issues faced by them and what they can do to protect their work in the course of the performances. We shall also look at the main agreements which they apply to the entertainment industry, as well as the main clauses in the such agreements which all entertainers and artists should look out for, and which any lawyer who they engage should assist them in framing so that they protect their rights. And then at the end, we shall have a brief introduction about Nigeria International and what the club, the Entrepreneurs Club, offers for entertainers. So without further ado, let me introduce Ms. Rachel Olinga to take us through the presentation. Ms. Rachel, over to you. Thank you all. Just to note that the meeting is being recorded, and we can also then share your questions and any queries and any insights you may have on the meeting chat on the right of the webinar presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jomo. And like you said, my name is Rachel Olinga. I'm an associate advocate at Nigeria International. And like we have said, we are your lawyer on your laptop, an online legal platform. And like we are going to talk about as you said on the table of contents, we have the parties in the entertainment industry. And I know that this applies to all of us when we are talking about who is an entertainer. And so many things come up when we are talking about entertainer. So I can tell you today that you are an entertainer if you see yourself as you are a songwriter, you are a musician, you are an actor, an actress, you are in the line of music, a DJ, an MC, an artist, anything that provides entertainment to people. You are an MC, you are a comedian, you are those people who are anybody that is doing any skit or what, you are an entertainer. And also you are an entertainer when you are, I think you can see it is lined up there. You are also an entertainer when you're doing in the business, a producer, a recording a person in the recording. You are also an entertainer when you are, and so many other ways of entertaining yourself. And those are the things that we call you as an entertainer. So as you can see, there are very many people who come up with this. But before that, I want us to look at the problems that we are having, the issues that were raised, so that we may know what are the issues that even as you see this, you can also write one or two things that you have seen on the screen, as you're looking at the screen, one or two things that you have seen rise up, that entertainers out there and musicians, actresses, and even people who are taking pictures and bloggers have gone through and have not sought compensation. And maybe you can look at this. If you see a few days ago, these are one of the things that have also made us rise up to address this matter and to bring this discussion forward, because so many people have been having complaints. If you can see, there's somebody, Gabriela Acheng. She was complaining that she woke up to 3 of her photos published in the issue of Standard Kenya with no mention of her name for photo credits. And of course, you know, there were so many things that came up and people who started commenting about that. People who came out and started talking about the issues. And for example, another person said, I recall sometime around 2008, 2009, they shot about four episodes. They shot about 4 episodes of a pilot project titled Kwamaiko in Mombasa and presented it to Citizen, only for them to see the same script replayed on Inspector Mwala a couple of weeks later. As you can see that. Also, there's somebody who has said how they have done so much work and they have not been paid. Another said in Kiswahili, heri wewe, it's just photos. Some of us have forwarded TV program proposals and pilot episodes only for us to see their season presenters hosting the new shows a few weeks later. So all these are, you see, there are things that are rising up. There's another one that has come recently. There's another one for Miracle Baby that has also come up. If you can see the next slide. Miracle Baby was talking about how, according to him, the pretense and selective, he was saying world nzima ilikuwa na ikaona tukinyang'anywa vitu zetu zote, including accounts zetu, do zetu, deals zama. You see, all their things were taken away from them. And these are the problems that are rising for many artists. There are others who have written when they saw this program coming up, asking the same thing, how can we help? Somebody said her photograph was used and shared on Shutterstock without her permission, and it is on Floma. She's the face of Floma, but she has never gained any amount of money from it. So this brings us also, as you also maybe you can be able to write down what are the problems that you as artists, musicians, bloggers, songwriters, what are the things that you go through? What are the things and issues that you face today? So in this, we are going to come to the introduction that there are many instances of artists and musicians who are crying foul over issues, as you can see, as we have previously seen in the brief posters we are from showing, that they could have avoided if they had known their legal rights and for the rights of their work. As a person in the entertainment industry, your ignorance of the law sometimes is the gain of another party. If you did not know how to do and how to protect yourself, someone may be pocketing your money or pocketing your fame because you did not know how to address it, if you understand. You can also lose, you can lose a lot of monetary value of the rights in your work, even by bargaining lower. If you do not understand how to do it right on, or to look at what clauses you're supposed to look at. And this also counts, bargaining lower counts because of the value that you give yourself as an entertainer. Sometimes we are desperate to go out there, that when they tell us that they'll pay us with the exposure, we ignore all the necessary things and we go for the minimal amount. Also, so this training discussion is to profit you as an artist and all parties in the entertainment industry. We are going to highlight the legal issues that many of you are facing and dealing with, and we are going to bring to light the monetary problems that you may encounter in result. Knowing how to protect yourselves from these issues and everything, and the legal measures that you're supposed to go through, and how these things will help you as an entertainer at the end of the road to make sure that you come out. You need to know that this is not unique. Even in other countries that like the US, South Africa, it all starts with this. If you begin to know your rights, if you begin to go to a place that you know this is I'm enlightened in this way and that way, then you are able to start to protect yourself without fear. Yeah. So like we already discussed as a party, the musicians, the artists, producers, songwriters, actors, publishers of books and everything, and newspapers, promoters of programs, of songs and stuff, recording companies, DJs, masters of ceremonies, influencers, advertisers, especially influencers have been coming out so much and having their pieces and organizations and their artwork, I call it artwork, presented without their permission on pages and places and made fun, and people are gaining through it. So all these things you have to look at it. Advertisers, what is it that they are showing that you're not able to protect yourself? So one of So the question, as it is said here, what are the main legal issues faced by entertainers? If maybe you can maybe write on the chat and, and before we go into and delve into the real and also discuss it, I would have liked to throw it over to you as an entertainer. What are the issues that you have been facing, and what have you tried? Have you tried to do any step to protect yourself? And if you can write on the chat, you can see.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for introducing us to this very interesting topic on these legal issues, and the first brief on the main highlights that's relating to the entertainment industry, who the parties are, and a brief glimpse into the issues that they are facing in today's world. So we've come to a point where we want to just ask a few questions and maybe also introduce our main speaker to also share some thoughts. So the first one is the main issues. What are the main issues, legal issues faced by entertainers? I think this is something from which we'd like to hear from you. Anyone who'd like to also respond on the chat or also present on at this webinar. Maybe you can start with Ms. Pami, if you're able to jump in and maybe share a few thoughts as to the issues you've gone through. Pami, can you hear me? Maybe you can.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you, Pami. Over to you.
I would like to say thank you for this great initiative. Just knowing that the artists can come together and have their thoughts laid down and their concerns, to me, I feel like it is a great achievement, because as an artist, we always feel like we are not going anywhere. Sometimes I'm not speaking to just few people, but just generally, we feel like our work is not appreciated at all. Whenever we try to make an effort, it's like we are stuck in one place simply because we feel like people do not listen, people do not care about our work and all that. So my special gratitude to Nate Sharia for such a thought, where we will get a platform, all the artists to just throw their complaints and their concerns, and of course get help, because we do not come here so that we just get out the same way we came. We come here because at the end of the day, we want to beneficiate from you as a company as well. So I personally say thank you on behalf of all the artists who are here. We say thank you so much. As for me, as an artist, one of the main legal issues I have faced is copyright and, of course, royalties. Sometimes, of course, even before I go there, I will also find my posts. I love writing posts. You will write some posts on the internet and you'll feel people have already copy-pasted it without, of course, mentioning you. And you're like, oh my God, but that is my right. But who cares at the end of the day? It is just a quote that you made. It is just a small article that you wrote. So who cares about that? But sometimes as an artist, you feel that you're being used and you're not even appreciated. And when we come to copyright and royalties, that's one of the main issues, and all of us are suffering from it. Only few people know what they have to do. Most of us, we are really lost and we are seeking for help, if I should say. Here I'm talking of even established artists, even upcoming artists. In all area we find ourselves actually we are hurt in one point or the other. When I talk of copyright, for me, what my wish as an artist is that, first of all, that I may understand that the law, I'm not working alone, I'm working with the law, that the law is concerned about me. That's something that most artists don't even recall. They don't feel it in their journey, that the law is not with them. They are on their own or only with God. But I want all the artists to feel, I want us to reach a point where all the artists will feel like, I'm not by myself. The law is with me. The law understand me. The law can come in for me in case of anything. But unfortunately, we will not be able to come to that point where we feel comfortable with the law when we do not even know our rights as an artist. That's where I think we need to be educated of our rights, that this is what you have to do. These are the do's or don'ts. These are the things you're supposed to, so that we are confident enough to know where we are standing. We shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So if every artist in whatever area of their life, they can be sure that they are educated enough to know their rights, I'm very sure we will not have idle artists around and people dying of hunger or just depression because they are not acknowledged or they are not moving forward. And another thing I feel is very important is we can also be educated, but sometimes if we do not have law firms or standing with us as artists, we will still not make it. Why? Because for me to find a lawyer who will write a contract for me, I need to pay. But sometimes it is very expensive. Now, remember, this is an upcoming artist, and they do not even earn anything from their content yet. And there's a law firm that is demanding quite a lot just for them to have something to show that they are in order or they understand what they have to do. It becomes quite a challenge for an artist. So we end up going to Google, Googling few stuff and writing some few contracts for ourselves. Yet some of them are not even right to start from. They are not right when you Google from, these platforms that are not even accurate. And then still you continue with that path of not knowing where you stand, what you're supposed to do, which we feel very hard. And sometimes I just wish we could have law firms who will also just love to partner with the artists. And like, we understand you, we know you're still an upcoming but promising artist. Can we do ABCD for you for now? But once ABCD begins to come, these are our percentages. So that even as we feel comfortable that we are we are not on our own, but at least we have the law working with us and understanding us and supporting us at the end of the day. So for me, mainly it has been that, of course, the copyright and of course royalties, because you publish your things, you fix few things with other people. Since you don't know, you don't get your share as intended. So at the end of the day, and then you don't know your right to follow up with them, that this is my right, you need to pay. You are afraid that maybe I will end up in trouble and all that. So I believe with Netcheria we'll be able to walk through this journey and come out of this knowing that, wow, with full understanding that this is my right and this, I know where to stand from, I know where to run to, because I have people who understand the law who will stand with me. As much as I know how to sing, I know how to paint, other people are gifted to know in the matters of law, and they are here to walk this path with us. So I think if I have really to bring my concern about the main legal issue that we face, what I will say openly is the copyright and of course the royalties. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pami. I think the floor is also open to anybody else who would like to ask any or give any insights. Any other entertainers or artists who are with us today on this webinar, that they can also raise some insights as to what an entertainer can do to protect his or her work. So then we know from there maybe what what people in the industry think can be done, or what they believe or perceive as what they should look out for when they are doing their work. And then maybe from there we can look at the other main issues relating to that protection, which they can also take on board and highlight. So anybody else who has any comments, any other artists on board, anybody, please, you're welcome to share. maybe then, if there are no questions at this point, maybe Rachel, you can continue the presentation, and then we'll have some more sections during the webinar when questions can be raised. And again, as I said, if you'd like, you can raise your questions on the chat feature on the right of the presentation, and then we'll be able to address them as we move on. Rachel, over to you. Proceed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jomo, and like Pami has already said, with the issues we have like copyrights and royalties, maybe we need to understand what royalties are. These are like the monies that you earn from the assets, from the things that from your content, like your video content, and the things that you present to the world. Those are the small monies that you're supposed to earn from it out there. Most of the times you find that these are royal, people do not get these kind of monies because first of all, they, like she has said, they do not know how to go about it and how to get it. Their contract has not stated that. It has maybe been, like she has said, they've gone on Google and it has been poorly drafted or poorly written. So it makes it very difficult for them to go and seek a remedy or seek people to pay them for their rights. So with that, let us go also on other issues except copyright. I will also explain further on what copyright entails. And let us see other issues that we may start. One of the things that they may start with as them is the need of handling of your privacy, for example. How are you able to handle your privacy? What are your rights of privacy in this matter? As an artist, you can easily be exposed sometimes by the things that you're doing and exposed in a wrong way. When you also look at taxation issues, we have seen artists who have had issues with taxation because of the businesses they are doing by virtue of the fact that they are artists. And at the end of the day, they lose so much because of the penalties. When you're also an artist, you need to plan yourself on your wealth planning. How are you planning your monies? How are you seeing your earnings? Another one is your business, the daily business transactions. Still, we are going to break them down in a few minutes. Your intellectual property, your labor and employment matters. You have seen recording artists who have been accused for stealing and refusing to give people their documents. As you can see, Miracle Baby had talked about it. Dispute resolution, the insurance, and issues of insurance. How are you insuring your equipment? How are you insuring the things that you're handling and stuff like that? When you're sick and things, how are you able to protect yourself? We have had issues again where we have to gather money for an artist who is unwell because of issues like that are coming up. We are going to go and see also the legal disputes that are unfortunate, yet they are a reality, like in negotiation. How effective is it? Are you negotiating well when it comes to your documents, to the contract? And how are you finding the expertise and the issues that you're finding that your ignorance is, like I said a few minutes ago, is the benefit of the expert of the person of the third party. So if you're not negotiating well, like I said, some of the people who come to you and the ones who want to work with you tell you, we shall pay you this, but you will get exposure. And others will say, they give you for a one-time shoot, but after that, they keep rerunning your program over and over. Today, they keep putting your music and still you're not getting anything out of it. And they are not giving you access to their accounts, yet you are supposed to have an access to accountability so you can know their accounts and how they are benefiting for the exposure that they are giving to your music and how you also are supposed to benefit from it. Like now, let us see the first one, main legal issue, usually like Pami Ramza had said, is piracy. This is a recurrent infringement of the entertainer's IP rights. It involves the entertainer's content being illegally copied. It is being aired out there. People come with small CDs and they take your rights. You see them taking just a portion of what you are singing and putting it on their statuses, putting it on their videos, and still they are not recognizing you and they are not saying that this copyright's reserved for this and this person. No recognition is received for the entertainer's work. And also, this one also causes losses of what? Of royalties and revenues, because you're not able to earn, because they did not recognize you, and because you don't have a contract and you have not put out a disclaimer or you have not put out a notice to say that nothing of yours should be used in any way without your consent. So you lose monies which you are supposed to have earned There are sometimes these things like on YouTube, you're supposed to earn per certain amount of viewers. I believe Pami knows that. Also, another one is reputation and defamation. This one occurs when untrue and reputation damaging statements are published in what? In media or print or video format. Celebrities are particularly prone to be defamed in the limelight, and their lives are constantly under scrutiny. So you need to ensure that even remotely untrue statements about them are not put out in what? In public. Any damage to their reputation could impact your career. So you need to make sure that all this is protected. With mass media, increased risk of someone filing a case of defamation. There's a lot of increased risk of someone filing a case for defamation. Entertainers are increasingly dealing with a significant number of cases that involve what? Defamation of their character, what they have said. Somebody twists what you have said by adding 1, 2, 3 sentences to make one, that you said this and you said that, you are supporting this kind of situation. Some of it is even politicized. And this also is especially damaging to the person's reputation. You have had matters of celebrities being accused of rape and being accused of also piracy and cheating somebody's work and stuff like that. But that is really damaging. So you have to make sure that you are protected from this reputation and defamation matter. Others are contractual issues, like we had already said. Contract drafting. Most of the people like to go and discuss it orally. They don't want to write it down. You come and you agree. What will be the evidence that what you agreed is what they will perform? You look at also the terms and conditions. Most people go and get the standard agreements that they, like Pami said, on Google. And then they are looking at it and they go with it without tweaking to make it to suit what program they're having right now. Some of the people don't describe what they are supposed to actually do. So when they go there, instead of singing 3 songs, the person now, because they did not write it down, the person talks something else. When you also look at the payment terms, if you did not agree on the amount, they'll give you a small token because you are afraid to ask. But if you know your work, you are supposed to know your worth because your work is good. So you make sure that you're agreeable to the terms before you go out there. There's also the ownership of the intellectual property. There are matters and cases that have come out there. For example, the one of Miracle Baby that I think we saw what he was saying. They took away all their social media. They denied them their YouTube access and everything because they did not know at the beginning. They didn't have, there could have been a contractual issue. They didn't write down to see how they needed to work out. Who owns the YouTube? Who owns the social media? Is it me or you? And if you do, when you want to leave and leave the job, does it get back to me? So you know, you start afresh. You remember YouTube, you've gathered sometimes over 1 million, 3,000 viewers. And all that goes to waste because somebody can't give you the access and they're earning from it. Another one is protection of the artists. How are you being protected from things like this? Contractual negotiation process and legal advisory role. Some of us don't have the right legal advice, so we are prone to make what? Mistakes. Other issues are employment issues. These involve labor law issues such as formal staff engagement, like do you work for me? If you work for me, what are you supposed to do? Some people say they are working for you, yet actually they are working for other people. How are you supposed to know whether it is your employee? So what if you're my employee and something happens to you and I don't know you are? So I end up paying for something I do not know. Former staff, employees versus consultancy. Are you a consultant, a contractor, an engagement? Is it a brief engagement? Have you just come to present on the stage for just a few hours, then you go, oh, we are working together? Also, how about the workplace health and safety? If you are an artist, then you go to present at a program and then something falls on you. Who pays you? Is it the people, or they tell you because we paid you money? Other issues that are emerging are sexual harassment, discrimination. How about bullying? You look at also various forms of intimidation and or insulting behavior. People can start blackmailing you. Also, people can abuse the power that they have. If you are my producer, sometimes it's like they own you. Everything has to be for them. Recording artists have had their music taken away from them. Others want and insist that even if you're paying me money, I want you to put my name there. There are also deliberate or inadvertent targeting of a particular individual. You have to make sure that all this is taken care of. And these are the issues. They need to have strict policies in place to avoid what? Employment issues. The other issues of compliance. This involves adherence to certain legal regulations for the entertainers' operations. How is your business structured? If you open a company and you come up as a production company, it is better than to come alone, so you don't have a backing. And also company secretary and corporate governance requirements. Those are the issues that are involved if you go back and see the person, the people, those of Miracle Baby, because they didn't know who was the chair, who was owning what, who was working, who is the manager. If you do not know that, you are prone to have issues on who should receive the money. Also, business licensing requirements. As a musician, there are licenses you're supposed to have that are supposed, and also people are supposed to get from you. For example, copyright license. Before they take your matter, you are supposed to give them the rights by writing down either it's a license, and also environmental and government what? Clearances. For example, the noise, wherever you're going, if you are part of the people that participated and those people didn't get clearance from the government, you are also going to be part of the people that will pay for it. And also the annual financial tax and reporting requirements. All these and many more, you realize that they are what? They are issues that entertainers are having. I think this also gives you more courage to enlighten even other issues that you're having.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you again for that insightful those thoughts on the issues, the legal issues being faced by entertainers in the industry. It is true. I mean, a lot of these issues are things that artists are going through, and people are going through and are not able to know how to resolve them. And this is where we come in to be able to give that advice. I think, as you said earlier, we've received some comments. You have people who say, we got one, someone saying they had a photographer take a photo of them during a photo shoot. And then behind the person's back, the photographer edited the photo and sold it worldwide through Shutterstock, and the photo is on many other platforms. And then they only got to know of it after they saw themselves on billboards. And then when they approached the companies, they told them, yes, they got it from Shutterstock, and then from Filma, sorry. Then the Hub Current bought it and used it on their billboards, and they never got a shilling. They've been trying to follow up, and a lawyer told them if it's past 5 years, they can't follow up the case. And that if there's no contract, the photos automatically belong to the photographer. So they're wondering, during weddings, people take photos with professional cameras during photo shoots, and the same, do we need a contract with them not to sell our photos? And unfortunately, then the person let that go. And they know that a photographer is earning a lot from it, but they get nothing as a model. So these are clearly issues that many artists and industries are facing as they go around about their daily duties, as they produce their work, as they perform their work, and there's that keen need for them to be protected. So one of the key questions now here comes up is, what do you think the main reason is a lawyer is required by an entertainer? Why does an entertainer require a lawyer? Maybe on this way, and also what are the main agreements which need to be drawn up for entertainers in the industry? Again, we can open the floor. We can have Ms. Pami Rams and anybody else would like to share their views. You can join in. You can share your thoughts. Pami, over to you. Any thoughts on this?
Yes, of course. Personally, I think it is very important for every artist to have a lawyer around, if possible. Why? Because, as I said, a lawyer will always remind you of your rights. A lawyer knows, that is their field. They know what you need to know. I mean, what you need to do, what you don't have to do. Sometimes, even as human beings, we do not know our rights. We do not know that we have the right to walk freely. We do not know that we have the right to laugh and to smile freely. Sometimes we feel everything is wrong, everything is a taboo. But when you have someone who understands it fully, and in the depth of it, they remind you that, you know what, it is your right. Once they remind you that, you become a bit even, you are bold enough to face whatever situation. A lawyer will help you also to draft the right contract, not only to draft them and also to go through them with you. In case you have any contract, they can go through the contract with you and just let you know that no, we don't think this is right, or we think this is correct. You can go on, you can beneficiate from it. But when the lawyer is not around, it's totally hard for you, because sometimes, as Ms. Rachel said, we just go to the conclusion, you will earn 20% and we sign. But when you go through it, there are sometimes you will never understand because you're not even a lawyer. That's when you have a lawyer, the lawyer will tell you this is what that means. It means you will overwork yourself as an animal for you to earn the 20%. But once you read that, you'll be like, no, I have to drop this or take it. So for me, I still believe it is very, very, very important for every artist to have a lawyer. But the worry is we cannot afford to have a lawyer. Because once you have a lawyer, of course, it means if they have to work on your things on a daily basis or monthly thing, it means you need to be paying them. Where do you get the money to pay them? That's when I go back to my first concern. If you can have a law firm that will understand the need of artists and, of course, work through the journey with them. But when something comes from their contract, they're like, when something comes, this will be our percentage for every contract that will come. But we are working through this journey, especially a promising artist, a serious artist. If they can always have a lawyer around to take them through the journey, it can be something very appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Anybody? There's very, very, very interesting insights. I think there's also the need to demystify the legal industry and see how lawyers can provide more support to entertainers and so that they can protect their rights. I think this is an area that is not very widely known. People concentrate on the main other areas of law, but then there's an emerging industry, an existing and emerging industry of those entertainers, artists, who need that support and protection. So it would be nice to hear any other views, anybody else who's gone through any issues and what they think as to what they require. We have a comment here, where they say that I think a lawyer is very important, and once you have made a decision to produce content, you should seek to know how to protect your work. That's a very good point, and one which is very, very necessary for any entertainer. I think sometimes the first thought is, how will I make my money? How will I recoup my expenses, what I've incurred, and how soon can I get known out there? How soon can my work get out there and be known? So sometimes you think of just going forward, getting your work out, getting to be known, and you do not focus on what you need to do to set as a foundation stone to protect yourself. So maybe in this regard, just again request any other feedback, any other views. But in the interim, we can have Rachel. You can take us through the main agreements which are drawn up in the industry and what entertainers need to look out for to protect themselves. Over to you, Rachel. Thank you.
When you're looking at you have right now discussed and enlightened us on, as an entertainer, why you need an advocate or a lawyer. One of it is to avoid litigation. If you're looking, we recommend legal advice. Even if you are just starting out, legal advice is needed. If you are having a counselor, a lawyer on board in everything that you're doing, it may not mean much for this moment, but later on it will benefit you, and to avoid anything that is causing issues. Like in contract drafting and review, the advocate will help you to review these things. They will help you to clearly set out your obligations in various segments. They will tell you what is happening. They'll break down that this is what this agreement means. This is what it does. So it means you are going to earn here and not earn there. And also it helps you in contract drafting to secure the payments and revenues that are due, and the royalties that you'll get from the entertainment. There's also, like I said, continue drafting relevant license agreements to protect your IP rights, to know whether you will earn, or because some people, they say they will take everything plus your rights, because you are the one who sang the song, they are the ones who have given you the studio. They say it is no longer belongs to you because they own the studio. So the license, also you'll find that the license indicates that the licensor must give permission to the licensee. Those are the things that they will review for you. You are required to prevent others from using the license, the entertainer's work, so you're able to understand what these licenses mean. Also measures to defend, also an advocate is needed for times of defending your IP rights. Right now, what is going on with the person who talked about Floma? They are using her picture everywhere. She's not earning, but somebody's earning from somewhere who took the photograph, who went and modified it, and then they are benefiting every month from Shutterstock. Meanwhile, she is not. And she feels she has gone away, yet there is a human rights, there's a violation of a right to privacy. You're not supposed to use my picture without my consent for what? For commercial gain. Also, there's the protection from defamation claims. This is the oral written communication, like we said, false statement about another that unjustly harms their reputation. It can be made by fans, by third parties. It may include this slander, like I said, they can tweak what you have said. So using a lawyer to draft a cease and desist letter to tell the person to stop, and also to enforce remedies, and also go for demand, and also demand that the person stops and pays them for the damage they have done to their reputation. The advocate will help you do that. How many of us know that when somebody uses your image, you're supposed to send them a cease and desist? Also for your IP rights, if they're singing your songs and you've not asked them, you're supposed to send them a cease and desist letter so they stop. And after that, you are supposed to ask them to pay you for the time that they used your letter and your information. Most of us do not know that, and they let it pass and go just like that. And also another one, that in case of, for example, for artists who are using studios, if your studio is what? It has caught fire. If your studio has flooded, how are you supposed to earn from the insurance of it? You're supposed to say, did you pay the insurance? Lawyers help you to make your claims. And if you didn't have insurance before, you are not covered. But if you are covered, and you had covered your studio, you had covered your music and your songs, so many people do that and they earn. If you don't, you can lose out on all your equipment that was expensive if there is fire in the place. So all that, you need an advocate to help you with that. And those are the things that that entertainers out there, if you're not well conversant with the law, the advocate will help shed so much light for you. For example, like when we are talking about the right of privacy, and for your work not to be publicly put out there for commercial gain, there are cases to that effect, that even if you have paused for it, if they are going to use it for commercial gain, they need to seek consent from you before they bring it out there. So all those things we need to know as artists and entertainers. So when you look at it as entertainers, these are the main agreements that you'll find in the entertainment industry that you need to pay keen attention to. Or you need to ask whenever you're going somewhere, what are my IP rights? You ask, what type of contract is this? Is it a commissioning? Are you paying me for a type of contract? If it's an IP licensing agreement, you need to protect your interest by use of your work. You ensure that your music is paid appropriately and has been fully protected. You ask them to pay for the license to use it either per year or per month, so that your music and maybe your acting work, your influencer, the things, because influencers and people out there who are being the personalities, the social media personalities, they come up with programs. For example, if you have paid me for a one-time program, then you keep rerunning it. Every time you keep rerunning it, you are supposed to pay me for that. So if you're also looking at music commissioning, these are also agreements you find. Are you paying me for a certain project, for a custom project? Then if it is that, we need a music commissioning agreement. How about record label contracts? Musicians are paid in exchange for their music rights that are made with a contracted record label. So all these you need to come up. Insurance agreements that will cover your transportation when you're on your way with your studio and your equipment and to the studio and to the place where you're going. Are you covered? How about your artwork? If you're an artist who draws, is it protected? Because this is your money maker. Look at also the commercial general liability insurance. protecting yourself from accident at the premises that you're going to what? To perform. Also look at the sync license. A music synchronization license, also known as the sync license. It's a license granted by the owner or a composer for a particular piece of work. The license allows the licensee or purchaser the right to use the music in a visual piece, such as a movie, video, game, or commercial. I think you have seen people acting and in the background playing someone's music. Have you gotten that kind of license for yourself? How about the booking agreement? This can be used to give you legal protection if you are hired to perform at an event. The agreement records the terms of your performance, the venue, the date, the time, and the length of the performance. For example, I'll be there for only 2 hours. You have gone to places where the musician only comes for 1 hour. That is because they already did a booking agreement. And also the performance fee and deposit, the technical and hospitality requests, the security, and also the cancellation policies and other details. For example, if we expect to bring Pami or somebody, Ben L or someone, and then we are not paying, and then when they come and we cancel, we are supposed to pay them for wasting their time and stuff like that. Most time when we cancel as artists, we just walk away. We don't find out, we don't help each other. If you can also see, also others are side artist agreements. It's a contract used when a record label or artist or producer hires a musician, singer, or rapper who is not part of the group or band, but to form in an artist's what? Recording. Some people call even the collaboration. You come just for that moment. The producer agreements, in an agreement under which a producer funds the recording of music or what? Performances by an artist. The producer is assigned either the full ownership of the copyrights, which we need to take note, and presentation rights, or the length of the time of the agreement. You say you will own these rights for 2 years. After 2 years, the song comes back to me. Also advertising rights, like the document through which two parties, the publisher and the client, form a relationship whereby the publisher agrees to publish a certain of the client's advertising content on a website that the publisher owns or operates. There are also influencer agreements. These influencers need to take note of them. A contract which is between an influencer and a brand is to protect both parties and ensure obligations are met. A partnership between a social media influencer and a brand can be a successful one as long as the roles and expectations are defined. Also, when you look at the lease agreement, for example, for those who are trying to hire a studio, you need to make sure that it is there. The person can tell you that take this agreement, then they have not indicated that they don't like noise in the area. So when you start playing music, it becomes an issue because you did not write it in the agreement. The landlord tends to bully you. And also you have paid this amount, then they start coming up with service fee and stuff like that. So even if you're renting out a room in your house or to a family friend or whatever, you need a lease agreement for legal protection if you encounter problems with the people or the landlord. There's also the exclusive rights agreement. The creator of the property is agreeing to license the property to the producer. Remember, your work is your property or entity. Your music is your property, whom he is making the deal and not to anyone else, where you have said, I have only made the deal with you, the recording company, not with the other people, not with the people who are going to share. So you only make with him. So anytime your work is to go out there, you need to come back to the table and do another agreement. So agreements are binding in court, especially when registered. And when you come out with them, you are able to perform and you be comfortable and sleep happily knowing your work has not been stolen from you. So I really recommend that you know the agreement you're going through. There's also another agreement that somebody raised. It is the split sheet agreement, which, as we already indicated, that whereby some of you, it indicates the work that each and every person is supposed to do. It is one agreement that has both the artist, it has the artist, it has the artist, the recording, the producer, it has the songwriter, it has the musician, then they apportion how much each and every one of you is supposed to earn. This way, you don't have issues like for Miracle Baby. whereby the person has taken over everything, yet they are not the musician. Are we together? I hope I've shed a lot of light. Okay. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Rachel. Maybe again, thank you for that insight on this, taking us through the clauses on entertainment agreements and the other and the main issues which are for which an entertainer needs an advocate. On the issue of the split screen, I think it's also important to note that whereas it affords some level of protection to the entertainer or the artist, it is not a complete protection because it does not have all the other rights and duties enshrined inside it that protect the artist. So it is important for each artist to then take the right agreement, even if they do have a split screen, they can have take up or engage a lawyer to then have the lawyer draft for them the right agreement that will cover the interest, because it's not just enough to say how much each person will get. It is important for each party's rights, duties, and obligations to be set out in the document according to what service is being provided. So that later it's not just about what money you're supposed to get, but what were you supposed to do? Did you fulfill it? And this is what, if you didn't fulfill it, what are the remedies? What are the protections afforded? So in this regard, maybe again, we can take a few comments. Maybe Pami, you have something to say about this or any other issues raised?
Yes, especially in regards to the split sheet. I think everything goes back again to being educated, because if every artist in their corner, they are educated, no one will be having an issue. Because when we talk of the split sheet, I can see I am an artist and I have the producer, of course, maybe the songwriter and other people coming in. But now my issue and my worry is this producer. Some producers, of course, you make a contract that, of course, you're going to make the song, I will sing, and then the split sheet will definitely apply in this condition. But now, remember this producer, you've brought your 20,000, you've brought your 15,000, you have given them. How fair is it to include them again in the split sheet? I've had this issue because of every time when I go to the studio, I pay because I do not want to be signed by any company. So far, I have seen those who have signed the way they suffer, so I prefer to do it on my own. And then I will pay this producer, even in the extent of paying 20,000, because it is demanding. You've paid the person who will play the keyboard, the drums, maybe if you need a live drum, the guitars and all that. Then when you go, there's one song I did, and I did not include produced by, because I felt, what's the point? At the end of the day, I've paid him for his royalties. I've paid him already. There's one comment that I never removed. I think for those who may be courageous enough or have time to check, they will see the comments. Someone just said, how can you, I've never seen a song published without the producer. And I was like, oh my God, but I didn't reply them though, because I know the contract I have with the producer. If it is an audio, if I'm releasing a CD, an audio CD, it is easy for me to include them. But in my video, what is the produced by coming to do in my video? Unfortunately, this is the norm here, especially in Kenya, because everyone does that. So if you don't do that, you look, you're suspicious, or something is very wrong with you, or you really have a bad heart and you're not a servant of God. And that has been my issue. How can my fellow artists know that if you have paid the producer, you are not entitled to them anymore? Or if I told you have to do it, you are doing that because you want to help them. They need to know you are helping them. Not that it is their right because they've never seen a song that produced by is not mentioned in. I feel very hurt by that. And then sometimes until my manager was like, okay, let's just do it. It's okay, so that it doesn't raise problems, simply because I did not know my rights. That's why all goes back to being educated. And I plead to all the artists who are here, now that we have this chance to be with Net Sharia around, to raise all their concerns. Another thing is that we speak of our royalties, the agreements and all. We need to know the reality in the ground is that we are trying to self-promote ourselves. So the moment you begin to show maybe a company that I will follow up on you if you don't do this, you are invited on a TV station and I need my right, no one will bring you in that TV station. And at the end of the day, you will remain that artist with 2 views in YouTube, earning nothing and dying of hunger. So what we do for the sake of our growth, we will swallow our pride. We will not even, in fact, we will think they are doing us a favor whenever we are going to, to appear publicly. We will feel, wow, it is a favor by God's grace. I've been singled out to go. We really don't know that it is our right event to claim for a gain or something. So I don't know how we're going to approach this so that even the artists feel safe, because at the end of the day, we want to be known, we want to promote our work, but we have fears even when we know the right. So how do we tackle those things, especially?
Okay, thank you, Pami. You've raised a very interesting point about the issue of royalties and payments to actors and to performers and artists and entertainers. We also received another chat, a very interesting chat. Someone talking about how the PRISK, the Performers' Rights Society of Kenya, the Kenyan body that collects royalties for both actors and singers. I think they're talking about during the COVID period. They said they never received any money from them. And they claim that they have not collected money from Kenyans, i.e. from TV and radio stations that play our music or air our programs, same to shops, restaurants, matatus that do the same. One member said she chased them when they came to collect royalties from our restaurant because they don't pay artists and they left. So per year, every member used to get around 20,000 shillings from the PRISK. So that's a very interesting point, which clearly shows that there's an issue around payments that are due to artists. And there's another point that someone says most TV producers delay with actors' payments for even up to 6 months. So people who go without profession for shoots in studios without contracts, run the risk of having this happening to them. So maybe if you can get some more insight from you, Pami or Rachel, on this.
I can answer that. This also, as usual, goes down to how was the agreement done, and it also goes down to what are the agreements with the performance rights? The performance? It's called the performance.
PRISK.
Yeah, the PRISK. How have we set ourselves to make sure that we are protected? If these are bodies that are supposed to protect artists and they're not doing their work, how are the advocates supposed to come in? Because I believe the artists pay a certain amount as members to that organization. So if they are taking monies, in most of the agreements, most of the agreements that we have come across, like I said, will take us on the main clauses that you need to have. You need to indicate for example, people are earning monies from royalties, for example, social media royalties, and they are the ones in charge of the accounts. There has to be, for example, every month, a monthly account taking and auditing of the accounts to understand how much money is coming in, so that they may know how much is supposed to be allocated to the different people. So these are the things that artists and musicians need to know. They need to be walk about or to be aware of, that do they have a particular person who audits these performance rights, the organization, who is able to audit and find out every month how much are they getting as royalties from the people that are playing their music, and how are they supposed to earn? 20,000 is still very little for the amount, because taxis are paying to them. Matatus pay to them. If you are Uber, people are also paying to them. Clubs are paying to them. Hotels and restaurants are doing the same. So all these monies, you need to have an auditing, and it has to be indicated in the contract for the auditing. I believe I have that kind of clause. I will look at it, and then in a few minutes, while maybe you ask another question. And then
Thank you, Rachel. Pami, any thoughts? Have you ever had any engagement, any connection with the PRISK yourselves? Is it something, a body that you have interacted with, and what are your views on this? Any feedbacks from that interaction?
Yeah, in 2010, when I started officially, I did register with many organizations just to make sure I was safe. But after some times, when I didn't get any feedback, I have to be honest, I didn't have time to go back checking on what I need. I was like, God, just hold my hand. I felt that was enough. I was not even interested until I met Nigeria, which I really felt like, wow, there's hope for an artist. But before then, I was like, I didn't care. I will follow up on my YouTube. I will follow up on iTunes and my other invitations, and that's it. But following on the, I didn't. I wasn't until today, as I said, when we've met Nigeria. So I feel there's hope for better things. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Pami. We've received another comment. Contract signing is very key. For example, actors, they code for a one-time shoot, but years later, the programs are repeated on television as repeats. Yet the producers get the pay and actors get nothing. And if you're signing a contract and you bring this up, then you're not protected. And this clause is never in Kenyan contract, so clearly it's something that has to be addressed. Have you ever had instances of your songs being played like in this kind of manner, or where you have had to, Pami, where you've had to participate in, for example, in a television program, and then you never get any recognition or any payment as per what you've agreed?
Yeah, the problem is we do not agree when we go to TV. I thank God for some TV station. Of course, they will invite you even without an agreement. They'll give you a token of appreciation. Imagine that. And we are like, wow, we did not expect that. But other TV station, of course, you will go and it will be a thank you, and that's it. And as I was saying, for us, because we do not know the law, we are not educated. Sometimes we feel it's actually grace fallen from heaven that they even called you to go for that program. So we do not know that it is your right, maybe at least to be appreciated. So when it happens, it seems to be a miracle. So with you guys educating us and taking us through the journey, we believe that maybe this will change the industry for the better.
Okay. Thank you for that, Pami. Rachel, I don't know if you have any more insights on this.
Not really. I'm really thankful because this has really opened something and a discussion that can really help us at all times. And so it takes us to what are the things that are the clauses that you look at as artists. What are the clauses? Whenever you're given a contract, yes, I have been given. What are the things that you're supposed to look at that will help you? So you can look at the entertainment clauses and agreements that you're supposed to look at. For example, the confidentiality is that my work is confidential, NDA. What are the terms and of the agreement? What are you supposed to do exactly? Describing the kind of work you're supposed to perform, describing the kind of way you are supposed to be working. It's also describing what you are supposed to do. You don't expect me to sing once maybe a week, but still you need me to come and sing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you're paying me for once a week. So the terms of the agreement matters. And also, how much am I getting compensated for this work? How much are you paying me? There are sometimes musicians are, like I said, you're being paid with exposure. Exposure will not bring food on your table. Also, when you look at the description of job or what is expected of both parties, like I said, the master rights, who owns the right to the song? Is it me who sings it, the person that writes it, or the producer or the recording place? So who owns it? And are we giving me a one-time payment for singing it, for writing it, that after that I will sing it forever and still earn from it? And also the merchandise. For example, the T-shirts, the small things, if you see, this also happens to footballers who become models. The shirts that you're selling, the things that you're having in the place of entertainment, how do I earn from it? Am I going to pay for the video games you're using for me, for appearing in this place? So am I going to also benefit, or it is part of the work of the people who are producing and advertising for me? So all those things need to come in. And also, like we said, the intellectual property or ownership of the work. If you are an artist, like they've said the law, most of the photographer, that the one who presses the shutter owns it. But though you're the one who presses and owns it, how about me, whose picture you take? Do I also get ownership of it and stuff like that? Also, for how long will what ownership be? For example, will it take longer when I'm owning it? Will I own it for 10 years? Some musicians and artists have had their work being used for a lifetime because they did not see the agreement and how it's supposed to be done. Because so they had it for a lifetime and they struggled because they did not get to indicate how their work was supposed to be. So at the end, they leave without gaining anything when they leave the recording company. The work remains with the recording company and they have nothing. Others have become slaves of the recording company. You can never leave or have an option to shift to another one. So you're here earning little and still not gaining anything. The other one is also, we've talked about the period, the social media presence, and how are you earning from your social media presence? How are you earning for running the program that we are having and stuff like that? One of the things that you see as publishers and recording artists, you see when they are going to take like this royalty split sheet agreement, somebody wants to even take charge of like your accounts, your YouTube accounts, your everything, and they man it. But you have not put in agreement for how long? Because you've not written the term of agreement. It's supposed to take the time of the agreement, the duration. How is it supposed to take? So when it comes time for taking it back, they feel it is their own baby. So you see like what happened between Rachel and who? And the Miracle Baby matter. I keep bringing it up because it was something that really blew up. So she took away, she took away all their social media presence, all this, because they did not write down for how long she's supposed to have the what? The agreement, and for how long she's supposed to have the ownership of the presence. All these things, if you've spent 2 years, you're supposed to take it, give it back to either the owner of the music so that they start running it by themselves. Then also sharing proceeds of this merchandise. If you are the one who is the person whose face people are buying, how am I earning from it? From my t-shirts, from my shirts, from the trousers, from the shoes. Most of the times we are not earning. So all this, if it is written down and put as a clause and you understand how you benefit and how you're sharing. Also the exclusivity. People like to hire you, but still, this one also happens, artists do it a lot. You have a producer working on your matter, but still you go to another studio doing the same thing and another one. So it confuses in terms of earnings at the end of the day. So you have to be exclusive. Am I only doing this job for this particular thing? After that, am I being paid for it? And also what else is that? Also the authority. You see who is authorized to run the account, who is authorized to earn, who is management, is it plus your management? Other things that you find in the accounts in your contract, for example, with the people that you're talking to and writing to, the rights and reservations that you have. For example, you can find a clause that any person or organization not affiliated to, let us say, to PAMI Rams, may not use or copy or alter or modify any photography, any videography, or any song, or other similar reproductions or recordings without my written what? My written consent. It has to be indicated as a clause, so that they may know that when they are using it, it has to always come back to you. And then you say that the advance written permission has to be given. While attending any event, you may also agree, if you have it in a contract, like how it's supposed to be done, the terms. Pictures should only be used for personal use. It should not be taken out there for commercial. People take your pictures and they say you will be present without even first telling you will be present for the video. Others say that you will be part of the singers and a line of people are there, but you're not part of it. All those are things that are affecting you because you're not earning from it. Are we together?
Yes, thank you, Rachel. Thank you for that brief discussion on the issues, on the particular clauses that need to be addressed, or that entertainers need to look out for in the contracts that will protect their rights. So maybe at this point, I'll open up the floor to any questions, any answers. Again, you can write your questions on the chat on the side of the presentation. Pam, in the interim, I don't know if you have any other insights to add on this additional points raised by Rachel.
This is supposed to be played.
Not at all. I think she has really been clear on everything she has done. It's just up to us to also make an effort to follow up and maybe read more or listen more. Just as I'm looking at my fellow artists here to also just open up and ask questions so that we are all helped together.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe we can take another minute or so for anyone who'd like to raise any other queries or questions before we close.
The hand, maybe they need to assist.
Yes, your
Ben.
question? Yes.
Ben, I think is raising his hand.
Okay. Ben, over to you. Yes.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Ben. Thank you for participating. What's your question, please? We can hear you, Ben. Proceed.
He's muted.
It seems he's
okay. Tell him to speak.
Muted. There's a question.
It's okay. Tell him to speak.
Hello, can you?
Yes, we can hear you, Ben. Please proceed.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you very clearly.
I hope you have heard something about. I hope you have heard something about Skizatune.
Skizatunes, yes.
In Safaricom.
Yes.
Now there is. You'll find that that for every 1 shilling, of customer, for example, if I have a song that I have uploaded in Skizatune, that I'll get only 25%. Then, no, only 5%. 20% goes to Ngoma and 70% goes to Safaricom. How are we going to come out from that? Because as an artist, I'm supposed to get the 70%, and maybe Safaricom is the one that is supposed to get 5%. You see, this is bad.
Thank you for that question. Thank you for that. That is truly a very important point, and I think a lot of artists are going through that with the Skizatunes. Maybe Rachel, you can say something about that.
This always is because of the bargaining power of the party that is using it. As you can see, Safaricom usually has a higher bargaining power. But if you come out and get back, because I believe there is something that you sign before you put up your song for Skizatune. There are terms and conditions that you click and answer to without first reading. Those are the things that I usually ask that we send to the advocates. We show, read for me, what does this mean? What does that mean? But like I said, the bargaining power, the person of the money seems to hold higher. But also it goes back to your renegotiation. You can negotiate your negotiation skills. That is why the advocate comes in to negotiate for you. They tell you, no, this is not fair. He's the one, like what happened to Uber, for example. You had to go back and renegotiate. The Uber people, the taxi will get this and you'll get this. This is too high, this is too this. So this is what is also supposed to happen to the part of Skizatune. If you have the ability to negotiate, you negotiate before you sign in or before you send your song. So if, for example, the PR, what is the music that we talked about earlier, the music PR, it's supposed to help you in those terms and matters. If they're not able, as advocates, we are supposed to help you to make sure that you are negotiating. Otherwise, you withdraw your song from Skizatune.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes, Pam?
Yes. Now, in regards to what Ben has said, because now when an error has already been done, it has been done. Maybe we need to see how to fix things. Now remember, this artist has already signed with all the mistakes because they couldn't maybe afford a lawyer or they didn't have someone to guide them. But then still they do not, after even 3 years, they haven't even received 1 shillings. Yet every time they call their mom, they hear their own Skiza tune. Meaning, and if it's only their mom playing it for 3 years, they need at least to have a shilling in return. So how can Ben go back to that company and ask them to at least give the money because they failed to do their part of the deal, because they say every 3 months we will give you a report, but they don't. That's one of the reasons. It's only one song of mine, this idea, that is registered. Others I refused until you bring me a good thing, then I register with you, but not Skiza. I refused because I was like, no, if it is like this, I don't want. Let me just earn from my YouTube. Don't take it. Let me not take it as well. So how can an artist now go back after 3 to 4 years and tell them I came to follow up on my things without a lawyer? How possible is that?
You write to them. There are other different means of demanding. You can ask for a demand letter, which is already a pleading that you can use in court. Then you ask them to either for a meeting, but most especially you ask for a demand letter. Ask because they are not fulfilling their part of the deal and you have already signed a contract. If somebody is not, they are breaching their part of the deal. So you ask for a demand letter. If not, then we go to proceed and go to start the matter and we raise it in the court for compensation, whereby they will ask them to open their books of accountability and give us the report of how they have been earning. Then we'll make and see plus the interest that have accrued in that matter. I hope I have answered you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Pami. I think there's also been some legal developments. There's the Copyright Amendment Act, which I think also has put in place some provisions that will protect the providers of these ringback tunes, and then it put in place the sharing revenue, the sharing formula for the revenue between the parties. So I think the artist now, I think it's now at 52% for the artist, which is a very big increase. So I think this is also another avenue that now the artists and entertainers should be able to use in their engagements with companies such as Safaricom for this Skiza, to put the tunes on Skiza. So Ben, I think this is another avenue. Again, you can also consult us as lawyers who can be able to then advise you on how you can proceed on this. Is another question?
I think Ron has also had his hand up.
Ron, you can ask a question.
Yes. Thank you for the presentation so far. And Rachel, you have constantly mentioned the case that involved Miracle Baby from Sailors. And what I got from what he was explaining was, from his rant rather, was like, it's almost as if he was expecting public outcry to kind of change the situation that they were in. So now my question there would be, from a legal standpoint, assuming that you have signed a bad contract, and in this context, a bad contract would be one that has terms that don't favor you. Is there any amount of public outcry that can change the effects of what the agreement that you entered by signing that contract?
Okay, I'll answer that. Most of the times we need to go back to what is a contract and who are the parties to a contract, and what entails a contract to be made valid or invalid, or that makes it to be enforceable or not enforceable. One of the things is that you are adults and above 18, you have signed the contract. That means you have read through and understood what it's all about. So, which means the enforceability has to take place, except if you are coerced, or you were not able to understand and read, or you are drunk or intoxicated. And also, if you can see other ways of remedies that come in, sometimes can be equitable. But in most times, the court honors what was written by the parties for the intention that they were supposed to come up with. If it is vague, then there could be a remedy for you to go back on the drawing table. But most of these contracts, if you can see, which also is a problem that artists face, is that they can be writing a contract which is in perpetuity, it doesn't end. And that has happened in the UK. There are these musicians that have had their music forever, for life, that they did not give back to them until I think after 25 years, because they had signed a shoddy contract that said that those people owned everything of theirs. So they could not go anywhere. So those are the problems that we have if we do not understand the details of a contract. And to avoid that, it is better to have somebody to look at it for you. Public will make noise. People will talk so that we can go back and look at the contract for you. But if we don't find a way in which we can help you, it's unfortunate that sometimes you may not find a way out. It may be sometimes too late for you.
Thank you, Rachel, for that. We will have another question coming up from Stella. Stella, please raise your question.
My question, it's not a question, it's just an addition to what Rachel has said. Where there's a rule which courts apply when you have a contract that is ambiguous, and where a party has signed a contract and with a person who is in a superior bargaining position. So they look at the contract, look at the positions of these people, and they track that contract against the person who drafted, especially if
Yes.
the party who drafted, they are certainly at times bound to put in clauses that are very ambiguous, that are very punitive to this person who is in a less superior bargaining position. So that is one of the things, but again, that is the reason why entertainers would be advised to just seek out lawyers, so that they're being drafted by someone who is in a superior, then they are able to look at it and point out some of the punitive clauses. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution, Stella. We also have another question on the chat. As a sports person, this is from Mugwe Wariara. As a sports person, you play a game and people take photos and videos and use them to earn without you benefiting. How can one as an athlete protect themselves? Rachel, maybe you can say something about that?
As a sports person, you play a game and people take photos and videos and use them to earn without you benefiting. We need to go back to a few cases that have been decided recently that nobody has a right, without his consent, for his picture to be put out there for commercial benefit without them having a consent to it. So if somebody is earning monies from you, like I said, you have to write to them a cease and desist, and then that meaning take down that you're earning from. And then for the time period that that thing has been playing and the amount of people it has reached, because all that can be taken, it can be showed in the IT when they're doing the IT part. And at the end of the day, they will know how much they earned, and then they will apportion a compensation to you. So you can do cease and desist, then you ask for a demand letter for remedies for the fact that they used your picture and for the fact that they used your photos to make money for themselves. Especially betting companies can do that, for especially sports personalities. I hope I have answered you, Ms. Mugwe.
Thank you for that, Rachel. There is another query here from JT. Hello, I personally do not think it's fair for the law in Skiza to have the artist earn just but 10%. Do you all mean that it's a must we go to the table and negotiate for ourselves? We can't have a law which is mandatory for the artist to earn at least 50% and then negotiate from there?
Like you have said, Mr. Jomo, about the sharing formula for revenue for IP rights. And I think there have been a lot of changes to that. And Safaricom, or all those people that do the Skizathon, I will look at the contract. But most of the time, they have a time period for which that is supposed to play. Is it indefinite? Is it not? If it's not indefinite, there means there is a room for renegotiation so that they can put in the clause. But also, if a law has come in, usually the people, the entities that are concerned, like the owners of Sikizatun, are supposed to go back and revise the law to suit what has been given for application at the moment. So I believe there is room for renegotiation because they have said the 52% for the artists. So you still have 52% if you now go back to the drawing table, knowing your rights and knowing what you're supposed to have. The amendment. I hope I have answered you, JT.
Thank you, Rachel. We can keep it open for just a bit longer. If there's any other query, anybody else would like to share any experience or any comment?
Hi guys.
Hi.
Maybe to ask. So I'm JT, and
Yes, JT.
I'm an artist. So in music business, if I'm an artist and I can't afford a lawyer or an advocate, then am I doomed? Because now, see, all these things I wouldn't have known by myself, or if I know, I wouldn't know how to enforce or bargain, because as I had someone say, it's the one who has the most bargaining power. So they can bully me into agreeing to terms which I won't like. So, and I know by having a lawyer, I can bully them back. So what if I can't afford an advocate? Yeah. So what is the music and art space looking for us who maybe can't afford these services?
Okay. Thank you, JT. That's a very valid query. Rachel, maybe you can give some insight on that.
Thank you, JT. One thing we are going to talk to you about our platform for NetSharia. We have affordable documents that you can go on that cost as low as 3,000. Sometimes you just go and get the standard document, you look at it. And also sometimes we have put up articles that enlighten you, like this article on this that we have written is going to be put up. So that when you go to the NetSharia platform, you're able to see quickly what you need and how you need to bargain for yourself without having an issue on the bargaining rights. When you know knowledge, I always say is something, it's for your advantage. Do not dial down, but most of the time in this emerging environment and emerging entertainment industries, we have a problem of because you are the underdog. You think that the payment will come later when you make it big. How about you start like in other countries, like in Nigeria? You start by earning what you are supposed to earn from the beginning until the end. That way, you as an artist, you know your rights. If you keep selling yourself short from the bargaining power because they think they will get another person, sometimes it may take a bit of time and it's a painful thing for them to turn you down because you refuse to agree to their terms. But if you are agreeing to their terms, one of the things I would advise is make it a short period. If you feel you're an underdog and the terms are not favorable to you, go back to the clauses, make it short, make it exclusive to that period or that time, make it a one-shot thing, so that when you do your good job, the next time they come, your terms are changing, your bargaining power is increasing. I don't know if that can help you as an artist without having an advocate. I would recommend do it short so that when you are paid, you're able to go back and buy a better document on the platform. The documents are as low as 3,000. Have a consultation quickly. Consultation is also as low as 3,000 shillings. So go have the consultation with you. Is it 3,000? I'm not sure. Yes, it is as low as 3,000 shillings. Have a consultation for 15 minutes with an advocate on the platform, the Net Sharia International platform, so that they quickly tell you this is not this. Because when you are scheduling, when you are making a scheduling for consultation, already you've asked what you're going to consult about. You have shared the document you want to talk about. So we have already looked at it. By the time we are talking to you, we know what you need and how you're going to bargain with it. And at the end of the day, you're not cheated. I hope that answers you as an artist, JT.
Thank you so much. But remember, okay, let me fill you in an artist's shoes. So I remember I've paid as our guest artist for today said we've paid to record music. Again, we're going to pay to do marketing. Again, we're going to pay to do, like, at the end of the day, as an artist, I've spent so much. I don't want to hear more about paying, like it's so sickening. At the end of the day, it's so sickening because I have to pay and pay and pay, and at the end of the day, nothing is going to come back yet because it's going to take some time. Yeah, whatever will come back is kidogo. So would you? So I'm feeling you on my shoes as an artist. So this is now me. I'm broke. I'm broke now. But you guys want me to pay a small consultation fee of how much? 3,000 bob. I'm like, what? 3,000 bob. I can changa and record another song. So maybe if you guys can I wish one of you was an artist so that you'd understand, because we pay everywhere. So I don't know. Maybe help us in that area where we can do something like say we negotiate, we get the deal, it comes through, it pays, then I pay you. Then you'll ease in some of the pressures from me, and you'll encourage me to come to you more regarding, because that it haitakuwa hiyo moja peke yake. That's not the only document you're going to look at. You're going to look at so many other documents. So maybe work on a plan where I get this deal, you help me get it, I get money off from it, then you get money off from that as well. So it eases my pressure as an artist, and it'll encourage me to come back for more consultation from you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pami,
Yes,
say
Rachel?
something.
Pami?
Maybe could hear Pami then.
Thank you so much, JT. I think even when I began to speak, I mentioned something like this because I was really putting myself in everyone's shoe, actually. Because as much as the artists really want to be part of a certain family or to belong somewhere, there is the pocket issue. And that's one we cannot deny, especially here in Africa. When we speak of Nigeria, most of them, they begin by being signed. So when you're signed, you go sleep. If you're a gospel artist, you pray a lot. Take your time to pray because a car will pick you to go for a show. You will do your show. How much they've paid them, you don't know. And then your account at the end of the month, you'll have something and your rent is being paid. But for us here, we are some of us are really scared of being, signed because of the outcomes, especially in our platform here. That's why even when I was saying, is it possible, just as also is mentioning, to have a law firm that will be willing to work with some artists, those who can't afford, of course. And then for every contract or promising contract, they say after this contract, if everything goes through, we are having 20% or 30% or 40%. Now you discuss on the percentages of your income. Instead of the artists going through something they cannot afford and at the end of the day give up and not even afford to pay transport to go back home, and at the end of the day hang themselves on a tree simply because they have depression, why don't we find a place where we can have them get some help, knowing that we are having the Sharia, this is part of our family, they will help. But in case I get this contract,
the royalties
automatically this what the lawyer will take and this is what I will take. I think also find a platform where we will be helped, especially for those who can't afford it, because there are those who can afford the 3K or even 10, but some cannot even afford, even if you put 500, they can't afford it.
Thank you, Pami. Rachel, your thoughts?
My thoughts, I like the fact that if you are looking at the contract and you are agreeable to share the royalties with the advocate, it still comes in. But that also, as said, usually we also have I think per month we have discounts where we reduce the amount totally for you quickly. And maybe also we work out an arrangement, like you have said. It's about working out an arrangement, like Pami has said, whereby you present, you make sure you also we look at your program. When you are paid part of your royalties, we are part of the earnings. I don't know if I'm answering that correctly, Jomo. Maybe you can that right there.
Thank you, Rachel. I think what they're looking for is I think what JT and Pami are basically looking for is more like a long-term engagement. So that it doesn't have to be an immediate expense at this point, and a heavy one-off expense. But we can look at something like a retainer kind of engagement where we say, okay, you want us to do this work for you, then we can sign you up, for example, some period of time, like a year or 2 years or so, and then we agree for each month you can give us X amount, and then we'll cover a certain range of services within your contract, drafting for you the contracts that you need, and giving you then the associated legal advice that you require. So I think that's a kind of engagement we can then look at entering into on a case-by-case basis,
Yes.
based on your needs and what you require, and then we grow from there. Ron, Pami, I think I'm seeing queries. Ron?
Yes, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
So I have really felt the frustration in JT's voice when he was airing his concerns. And what I would just like to maybe highlight in the whole response that has been given, which has been very informative, is as Nigeria is considering coming up with better structures to work more effectively with artists and entertainers all across the board. I think one main thing that you can take for now that you can actually that is actually within control entirely as an entertainer, as an artist, as a musician, is what Rachel has suggested, that when you go in to sign a contract or sign an agreement with any party, depending on what type of project you're involved in, try to make it as short as possible. Don't commit to a long-term thing that might end up hurting you a few months to come or even a few years to come. So I believe that's something that's within the power and control of the artist, so that you can also take into consideration, maybe you don't have the bargaining power at the moment, whether it's financially or it's exposure-wise, but that exposure will come. That financial muscle will come eventually. And when it comes, you don't want to be tied down to the agreement you signed when Uluku Mesota, you are looking for publicity and all that. So I think that's one key takeaway that any entertainer on the call can take away from the response that Rachel has mentioned.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for that. Do we have any other queries or comments?
Just a quick mention on what Ms. Mugwe, is it Ms? had mentioned a little bit earlier on, and it was talking about the amendment of the copyright, and it was talking about the fact that the premium rate service provider, it takes at 7%, The telecommunication operator takes 16%. Then the artist or copyright holder takes the 52%. So I believe there now maybe Pami can be able to come back to Sikiza Tune. Ben can go because they know that now your earnings are going to be better for you. Even you can now go back and now renegotiate with this in knowledge, knowing that you're not going to have less, but you're now going to have more with your 52%. That's what I'd say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think if you have no other comments or queries.
Please, sorry. I called it.
Just like introduce you to the Necheria concept, and especially the Entrepreneur Club. So Necheria is an online legal support. I think by now that has become clear, an online legal service that supports innovators, artists, entrepreneurs, techpreneurs who want legal services and want them at in a fast way at affordable rates, and without necessarily having to come to visit a legal office. They're able to access the legal support without online, are able to access the documents that they require online, and then be able to then engage with the lawyers to have them customized or amended, or get the support through the consultation feature that has been mentioned by Rachel. So Necheria is basically that online portal that allows them to do that. And we look at it from two ways. We have the issuance of providing a legal document whereby they register. They go to the site, www.necheria.com. You go to legal documents, you register, then you search for the document that you require for your use. Or then you can then join the Entrepreneurs Club as the membership, through which they can provide, you can get various legal services and documents at affordable retainer fees, monthly retainer fees, based on your level of your turnover and the number of employees you have, or then the earnings that you have obtained so far. So then the team has also got experienced advocates with broad corporate, commercial, and tech-specific expertise who are available to you and your business for consultation, review, and advice through the portal. And so because it's we know the costs are prohibitive, as has been stated, and because they're charged on an item-by-item basis, we look at a retainer model, especially through the Entrepreneur Club, and also making the documents cheap and affordable, because a good document, as has been stated in the presentation, a good document will save you many shillings later on. So you'd rather spend, get the right document, have it customized accordingly, and then you have a document that protects you through and through. So that is, in a nutshell, that is Necheria International. We have a website, www.necheria.com. You can also follow us on our social media pages, on the LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow our videos and content, and share it with your friends and tell them about the Necheria services. We thank you for having taken this time to participate with us, to be with us in this very insightful webinar. And we thank Ms. Rachel Olinga for her presentation, which was very knowledgeable. We thank Ms. Pami Rams and all other contributors to this webinar. We hope that we've been able to give you the support that you require. So we'd like to just leave you for a few seconds to just watch an introductory video on what Necheria International provides. And we look forward to you participating in our future webinars. We shall be sure to add you to our database if you're not already there. Please share your email, your numbers on the chats, or on the email that's provided on the chat, and then we'll be able to then get in touch with you and give you any other information on how you can register and join us and engage with us in the future. We thank you again for your participation, and over to the video, and wishing you a very good afternoon, rest of the afternoon and rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Rachel Olinga, an associate advocate at Necheria International. Necheria International is a boutique technology-driven commercial, corporate, and online legal service. We serve the unique legal needs of startups, content creators, sports sectors, entertainment industry, pharmaceutical, biotechnology, agriculture technology,
and this is done in a fast, cost-effective, and timely manner. NetSheria, through its Entrepreneur Club and Documents Portal offering, focuses on using technology to help entrepreneurs direct their passion and vision to their core businesses as we handle the legal stuff. We offer the voice of business experience. We offer the voice, a guiding hand to startups and young companies as they develop their products and services and successfully scale up and move them to market. Our three main areas of practice are commercial law, corporate law, intellectual property and technology, media, entertainment, and communication. We provide affordable legal documents and online consultation services from our team of established lawyers who will basically take care of all your business as usual, legal work, as you take care of making the money. NetSheria International, your lawyer on your laptop.
Thank you.